have been set in stone. Remember, Geek Fam did not choose to bring a gold laner, an MM gold laner. And this is the first time we've seen the Valentina in the gold lane. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 1 between ONIC Esports and GEEK SLATE.
What happened in the first 40 seconds of the game? Beloy is down already, 0-1-0. A bad start to the game, but as a Natalia, you're not really bothered that much. I thought it was a steal from a boy, but it's still Kyrie securing the Lethal Wanderer. Keyboy putting some pressure down on that jungle. Beloy already getting chunked again. Keyboy might just go for another kill here onto Beloy. Good sidestep from the Abyssal Arrow, but Beloy's not having a good time.
I mean, remember that this Selena is one of the power picks for Keyboy all the way since, what, Season 9, Season 8? He's been using this hero for quite a while, so he is able and will be able to utilize that pickoff potential that the Selena can have. And you can see it already starting to pressure Chidera in the gold lane.
That might be exactly why Beloy got taken out. The Abyssal Arrow in the early game is just an oppressive, very, very oppressive spell here. And in the mid side, you can see that Sans has no issue clearing out that mid lane very, very quick. And this just helps with how much they want to roam. And I think towards level 4, where they wave the dragon, and it's where like ONIC can have a lot more chances to try and shut people down. And in top side, it just seems like they're trying to do just that.
Oh, there's a skirmish already here. Gonna taunt up that. Oh, boy, just got melted down. Jana's trying to follow Kyrie up. A boot joins in. Sans as well with the flicker over the way of the dragon. Jana trying to run away with the Finch Boys. Does it. A boy finds a kill. It's a good trade in back, but it's still ONIC Esports holding on to the lead that they have. Jana very nearly getting caught here, is able to recall away.
That was a very aggressive play by Geek, and you can see that Kyrie was just forced to go back, and Jana, we talked about this man on Assassins, but he was able to outplay it perfectly, just dodging from all the spells, using the Tempest of Blades for, just to dodge from the Priest's Wrath. And ONIC Esports, they're put in a more defensive, reactive position, and that's not where they want to be with 2 roles.
Did Beloy actually get it?
No, he didn't.
Oh, he didn't. Unfortunate,
now he's gonna
but
be caught. Sans, Jikundo with the dragon. Beloy gonna be followed through. Abyssal Arrow, perfectly timed with that way of the dragon knockback. That's another kill for ONIC Esports. This pickoff comp is doing amazing for ONIC, not doing too good for GEEK SLATE so far.
It's unfortunate, right? Because Natalia is also the power pick that Beloyski has in his arsenal, but so far, ONIC Esports has been able to read him like a book. He knows how aggressive he goes, he knows the pathing as well, and therefore the initial aggression that he was supposed to have is definitely not evident here, as once again, GEEK SLATE onto the turtle!
Oh, that's the sun as well. Bravest Fighter. Kyrie gonna be slain. Jana gonna be able to pick this up pretty easily as Sans falls as well. GEEK SLATE with the equalizer. Turtle and 2 kills on the board. Good fight.
All the AoE and all the utility, the Cult Altar just means that ONIC Esports, even though they have all the cloud control and some burst damage, they can't get that guaranteed kill off. And honestly, their composition looks quite interesting on paper. They have a lot of utility, and they're relying on CW on the Natan as a sole source of damage, because Natan has a bit of a mix of both. And this might just work out, but it's definitely a fresh new strategy we haven't seen too often, and Sans again goes for the aggressive play.
Gotta be careful though. A boy with a stampede brings Sans back. No one to follow it up. Sans is dealing a whole lot of damage early on, even though he actually went for concussive blasts for his emblem. So we'll see Chidera on the Valentina a little bit more. Oh, very good Abyssal Arrow from Keyboy from downtown. Chidera has the way the dragon will be able to use it there to actually disengage, but CW's dealing a whole lot of damage back into a boy. Sans with the Chunpu and the knock up there from Kyrie picks up the kill. Beloy is hunting for CW, but will not be able to find the range just yet as Sans recalls right there. Beloy doesn't want to go for a town prediction here. 3 Geeks, 2 ONICs. 3 ONICs.
3 ONICs.
Interesting.
Whoa.
A little split here, 2-1 in both of the Dest, Indo as well as English, but as you can see here, Kyrie's buff was taken away by Jana QT, so that is going to give him a little bit of a benefit, unless, of course, ONIC Esports can take the opposing side of the buff. But what are we at? CW going to get taken down there in the bottom side.
See, this is why. Natalia can go 0-4, but can still one-shot the marksman. Beloy is used to this, right? Every single time on any single roamer, or any roamer, he likes to just die a lot, give some pressure back to the team. Sometimes it doesn't work out if you actually feed, the important members like the marksman, but the kills haven't really been going to the prio targets, so Beloy's been having an okay time now as he jumps in to the mid lane there. Onto Kyrie with a lot of follow-up. Kyrie might be brought back, and that's the damage that might just be enough, but the Abyssal Arrow connects onto the back line. Janna with the Temps of Blaze finds the kill. Beloy still able to disengage. Keyboy finds a trade back, and it is still GEEK SLATE with the kill onto the jungler. Worth it for GEEK.
Oof, it's just constant action right here. ONIC and GEEK both trying to make plays happen as they jump onto Chidera, and it seems like Chidera will try and turn it around, but it won't be enough. But look in the mid lane, non-stop action. Matt takes one down, and then top side Boots already fighting again.
Trades and trades are happening all over the board, but that last trade are definitely worth it for ONIC Esports. They were able to take Chidera down. Now, if we slow down and take a look at both of the compositions from both of these teams, ONIC Esports, they can just be content to bring it to the late game, right? Because they do still have CW, who is going to scale into that late game. Meanwhile, GEEK SLATE, they've opted with Chidera, the Valentina, doesn't scale as well, it doesn't have DPS damage that CW can have. So now GEEK SLATE is caught in a tough position.
There's a glaring weakness though for ONIC Esports. They're relying on one person to be the sole carry in that late game. Gets an Natalia against a Ling, and he gets taken out yet again. They are not letting him get to that late game, and they have all the tools required to ensure that they can keep doing this again and again.
Abyssal Arrow connecting with Wind Dragon to follow it up, but that's another way the Dragon onto Keyboy, as Matt's going to be able to actually escape, and Beloy picks up the scraps in the back line. Sans caught underneath the turret. Beloy still sandwiching, zoning him away for GEEK SLATE to pick up their first structure down below, even up top. So it's 2 turrets over to GEEK SLATE.
This is exactly what they need to do, right? GEEK SLATE now with a 3,000 gold lead. It's important for them to be able to utilize the early or mid power spike that they have in comparison to ONIC Esports.
Yep, GEEK SLATE, they're just trying to, their best trying to make things happen, and Beloy is just snowboarding out of control here. And here we go.
Zan's gonna be slain by the Executors. Keyboy tries to jump in, but will be melted down by the Bravest Fighter and Chidera. Abyssal Arrow whipping there. Kyrie against the world, against 4, but what you gonna do against the Cult Altar when it runs wild here in the bottom side? Boots is gonna be able to sustain back up, able to zone the members away, but GEEK SLATE are just gonna take what's theirs in the enemy jungle, invading and getting the orange buff. Janna wants to go for more, just jumps in, adding a little bit more pressure onto Boots.
It's a tough situation for ONIC right here because at 8 minutes, this is basically where your mid-game compositions really excel. If you look at GEEK SLATE, the fact that they do not have a marksman that needs so many items in the late game, they're essentially a team full of assassins and fighters, and this is where they are at their strongest peak, with the Bloodlust X completed for Matt, for example, with the Lightning Truncheon finish for Chidera as well. So they have a lot of burst damage, and ONIC Esports does not have the items to even survive it for now. Once ONIC Esports stall the game out longer, there is a chance that they can actually come back from this. But of course, they have to then contend with the fact that everyone can just jump on CW, and if he goes for damage items like this, Thread of Heaven and the Holy Crystal, he's gonna get so squishy.
Beloy's actually able to cancel out the knockback, and Sans gets baited in. That's going to be stun flickered away from him by CW, as Kyrie still stuck in the midst, has the dash, but will be followed through by Matt. Now, going to be stunned up by the Abyssal Arrow. Appraiser's Wrath coming down as well. Boots with a slam, trying to lock these targets into place. Abyssal Arrow whipping once again as Beloyski is looking for an opening to jump back in, but it's just ultimately to zone ONIC Esports away from this Lord that is conceded by ONIC, and GEEK SLATE will take it.
No contest whatsoever by ONIC Esports, and I do believe that's the wisest route, right? Like you mentioned, GEEK SLATE, they're in the position where they're able to play as aggressive as they are right now. The items have been built for them to have that aggression. Chidera already with the Holy Crystal, you can feel the dominance that the Lapu Lapu has as well with the Bravest Fighter, and of course the Festival of Blood that he has opted to use. Meanwhile, ONIC Esports, they're not there yet in terms of that power spike, so they need to play a little bit more patiently. And you can even see from the players' gold here by UBS Gold that, you know, CW not in the best place right now in terms of that gold, and he desperately needs it.
He's always in a dangerous spot because Fam is always looking for him. Look at Beloy, just scouting around, trying to find an opening, an opportunity. And for now, maybe ONIC Esports' best bet is to count on the fact that GEEK SLATE will jump on any opportunity because they can, and maybe set up a trap, like a mind game, to try and get ahead here and trade some kills back, because otherwise 6k gold difference is a bit too high to deal with.
They're committing onto the defense, and look at the dive again. Beloy from 0-3 now godlike as Kyrie whips. The Appraiser's Wrath will be taken down even at the back line. Jana finds a kill. Sauce brought back. Jana will fall, but Chadera finds a double. The base turret is wide open. GEEK SLATE want to go for it. 10 minutes in, do they look for an end angle? No, they don't. They move back, they disengage, but they've already accumulated 10,000 gold.
10,000 gold in 10 minutes. That is huge, and we don't see this often going against a team like ONIC Esports, who, like we mentioned time and time again, is the defending champions. That's how strong they are, but Beloyski has just been so on point with his flanking game, going into that backline straight and taking down the important members, which is CW. And that is the problem of having a one-dimensional draft. Putting so much pressure, so much focus, so much, what do you call it? When you're leaning on dependency on CW to take and have that damage onto GEEK SLATE, it's just really difficult for ONIC Esports right now to have a game plan with how strong GEEK SLATE is going into the core people.
Well, CW is also building full damage at this point still. He does have the Dreadnought armor to just mitigate some damage coming in from Beloyski, but and Matt as well as Jana, so it's a smart item, but for the most part here, he's still going full damage, and we saw what result that gave in the previous fight. He got taken out almost instantly. He has no magical damage, so Kadera and Aboy in unison can just destroy him in a few seconds. So it's just a tough situation. I'm not sure what to do, but of course for ONIC Esports, they have a bit of security in the fact that they are now in their base. As we keep talking about GEEK SLATE, they don't have a marksman, they don't have a long-range mage. This base defense might be just what ONIC requires to try and come back in this game. But GEEK, on the back of this Lord, will be trying to do more of a macro play and get something guaranteed instead of gambling it out, showing again how much they've matured as a team.
Oh, the recalls from Matt.
It's just well played. It's so well played by GEEK SLATE. A 10.5k gold lead, the way they were able to also just take the Lord for free. Again, it comes down to just the fundamentals, right? They got it down to a T. Clear all the waves, slow push it in a way where ONIC Esports won't be able to micromanage it one by one with CW, because guess what? Like you mentioned, they already only have one source when it comes to damage dealing in a team fight. So even when it comes to clear, not all of them can really clear. Keyboy and Sans, they're basically sitting ducks at this point when it comes to the late game. The double roam was meant to use to get the snowball going. And now, with GEEK SLATE, they're running onto the base. Beloy's a bit gonna... Oh, wow. Beloy still actually survives that with a cold altar, but the base turret will be taken down. I thought he was gonna die there.
It's one of the first Lords only, so ONIC Esports have a chance right here. But for the most part, it's all about that defense, right? CW, like we mentioned, has been going all in on the damage with very few defensive items. So he can still clear the Lord, he can still clear the waves, unless he gets caught out, unless GEEK SLATE makes a huge play. So for now, ONIC Esports will have some time right here. And for GEEK, I feel like they should be pushing the tempo a bit more, right? They have the 10k gold lead that they can use to try and dominate and take full control of the jungle of ONIC Esports, unless they have a different plan in mind. But if they just wait around for 90 seconds for the next Lord to spawn, for their next quote-unquote proactive play, I think it's a bit too reactive when they're so ahead. 11k gold lead right now.
I mean, they can't do anything else, right? They're so far behind right now. They just really need to try and protect CW, prevent him from getting picked off. They need to open up the map, figure out where the Natalia is, because Beloyski has been such a huge factor in taking CW down. And if we take a look at his items, he's only secured 3. Okay, he has full build now, Natan. This might be their moment.
Oh man, the call altar from a boy again. But Now with the Cult Ultra down and with the Beloy super low, they can actually force something. Sans is looking for it. Jikundo has the flicker. Doesn't choose to go for it just yet. Jana also has the Tempest of Blades, trying to counter that Jikundo flicker. Geek Slate will just choose to, again, move back. There's no real reason to force a fight at this point. They're still 11,000 gold ahead. They don't need to take a 5v5.
Well, the main carry for ONIC Esports is already full build at this point, and the only defensive items are physical. And if you look at the composition, it does make sense, but that also means Chidera and Aboy have ways to try and shut down CW. So the fact that the main core has caught up as far as items is concerned means that Geek Slate are the ones now with their backs against the wall. They are working against the clock, where soon ONIC Esports will be able to have equal items and the gold lead will become less and less.
In that Lord push, that the top side was heavily pushed in favor for Geek. But ladies and gentlemen, the pause has elapsed and we're going straight in with Geek Fam already on the Lord take.
Yep, Geek Slate now looking for an opening again. They're just forcing a fight. Matt jumping with Bravest Spider onto Kyrie. Boots is there. This might be a mistake. They've used a lot of the resources. Sans jumping into the backside right there, but the Tempest Blades will be popped in. Jana still able to find the retribution. Kyrie falling to the hands of a boy. Now Boots caught in the midst. Sans falling to Jana, who's able to jump in, but with the nature from CW is there, but it's only for physical damage. Chidera says, hey, I deal magic, and takes him down. Geek Slate, 4-1. Keyboy, a Salida with no wave clear. The only man standing, and even then Beloy sidesteps the Abyssal Arrow. Keyboy tries to look for a kill. He finds it, but he will fall to the hands of a boy. Geek Slate with an upset victory, wiping out ONIC Esports in game number 1.
A dominant showing by the new People's Champions, being able to lead the best of 3 series against the defending champions, ONIC Esports. And this might be an indicator that perhaps Geek Slate might be the new Giant Slayers.
They
might be the new Giant.
The new Giant itself, perhaps, man. They're just so solid right here. And we talked about how Jana Cutie can't really always get the assassins he prefers, but in this game, out of nowhere, they pull out the Natalia and the Ling. So he doesn't care about what you think is normal. He just